The lunch bell cut through the classroom air, sharp and persistent. Within seconds, the room shifted into a blur of movement. Desks scraped against the floor, and wrappers crinkled as students dove into their lunch bags. The room filled with the smell of chips and sweet snacks. Mrs. Ananya moved through the rows, checking that everyone had settled, but her attention snagged on the back corner. It was too quiet. While the others laughed and traded food, one desk remained still. She walked toward the back, stepping around a discarded chair. Character 2 was slumped forward, his head resting against the wood of his desk. He did not look up. She reached his side and saw the half-eaten bun pushed aside, abandoned. His skin was unnaturally pale, and he let out a shallow, shaky breath. Mrs. Ananya knelt, placing a hand against his forehead. The heat radiated off him. She leaned in close, catching the soft groan escaping his lips. The surrounding noise of the lunch hour seemed to vanish, replaced by the weight of the moment as she realized the student was struggling to stay upright. Mrs. Ananya stood, her gaze sweeping across the room. The chatter died down as she walked toward the front of the classroom. She picked up a piece of chalk, the sound of it scratching against the blackboard, drawing the eyes of every student. With quick, deliberate strokes, she began to outline a series of tiny, simplified figures. Each one stood firm, holding a small shield. She tapped the board, the chalk dust dancing in the air. "These are your body's soldiers," she announced, her voice steady and clear. "Your immune system is a silent army, and right now, they are locked in a fierce battle against germs." She traced a line around the drawings, connecting them into a defensive wall. The students leaned forward, their previous restlessness replaced by a sharp, focused curiosity. She pointed to the figures again, emphasizing the resilience of these internal protectors. When a fever hits, it means these soldiers are fighting hard to keep you safe. The room grew silent as the children stared at the blackboard, their eyes tracking the shapes. The fear that had gripped them moments ago dissolved, replaced by a collective determination to understand the invisible war happening within their classmate. Mrs. Ananya turned from the board to the supply table, her expression grave. She held up 2 plates, creating a stark visual divide for the class to see. On the first plate, a bowl of steaming vegetable soup sat beside crisp apple slices and a portion of rice. On the second, a pile of pastries and sugary biscuits gleamed under the classroom lights. She held the soup bowl higher, the steam curling into the air. "To win the battle, your soldiers need the right fuel," she explained, her gaze shifting to the back of the room. "If you provide them with heavy, processed sugars, you force your defenders to fight against the food itself instead of the germs." She walked slowly between the desks, letting the students inspect the items. The smell of the warm soup drifted past, contrasting sharply with the cloying scent of the biscuits. She stopped near Character 2, holding the healing plate close to his desk. "The second plate is for pleasure, but the first plate is for survival." She set the soup down, the ceramic clinking against the wood. The room remained completely still, the students watching the steam rise, waiting to see if the lesson would translate into action. Arav looked at the pile of pastries, then back at the bowl of steaming soup. The steam carried the scent of fresh vegetables, a sharp contrast to the sugary, artificial aroma of his original snack. He hesitated, his hand hovering between the two. The entire classroom held its collective breath. Slowly, Arav pushed his bag of processed chips toward the edge of his desk, letting it slide into the trash bin with a soft, decisive thud. He reached out, wrapping his fingers around the warmth of the soup bowl. The heat radiated into his palms, grounding him. He took a slow, deliberate spoonful, the warmth spreading through him. "I want my soldiers to win," he declared, his voice gaining a sudden, clear strength. The silence in the room shattered. A ripple of applause started at the front row and swelled into a genuine, loud cheer that echoed off the classroom walls. Arav smiled, the tension in his face finally relaxing as he took another bite. He was no longer just a student feeling ill. He was an active participant in his own recovery, and the rest of the class watched, their eyes wide with newfound understanding. The transformation swept through the room like a sudden breeze. One by one, students reached into their bags, pulling out crinkling plastic snack wrappers and dropping them into the bins. In their place, vibrant apples, orange slices, and clear water bottles appeared on the wooden desks. The room, once cluttered with colorful processed packaging, now looked like a harvest of fresh, raw energy. Mrs. Ananya stood at the front, watching the quiet, organized movement. She caught the eye of each student, noting the deliberate way they handled their new choices. She leaned against her desk, hands folded, and addressed the class with a steady, resonant tone. "Food is your body's engine," she said, her words grounding the excitement of the moment. "Choose the right fuel, and you will always be ready to play and learn." The children nodded, their faces serious and attentive. They packed their bags, tucking away their fruit and water with a newfound sense of purpose. The bell rang, signaling the end of the period, but the atmosphere had fundamentally shifted. They walked out of the classroom not just as students, but as guardians of their own health, ready to apply their new understanding to the rest of their lives.